Welcome to another East Tradewinds presentation with Eric Sonego from Capros.
Management tips for businesses in uncertain times. Now, I don't think the times are that uncertain. I think that conditions have changed a lot since 2020. I think that I can measure time before COVID and time after COVID, and things have changed a great deal since that. Customers have changed, clients have changed, suppliers have changed. Almost everybody you relate to has changed because of that. And I think it's going to take some time to readapt ourselves to a normal, more predictable life. And that affects us when we're running a company, because sometimes we have to react to the marketplace, especially in small business. We are not Procter and Gamble. We cannot get a big advertising international firm to change the wishes of the public. In small business, we react to what happens. So one of the things that we do is take care of ourselves. And we do this by following late outstanding payments from customers. Like what we do here is we have companies that pay in 90 days and we have companies who pay in 30 days. And they're two typically different companies. So when the 30-day payment company starts, going down to the 60 and 90 days, we worry. We don't worry for the 90-day company that pays in 90 days. We worry for the people who always paid regularly who now don't pay regularly. And that's usually a sign of more deep-seated troubles in that business. We might ask them to bring their books closer. We might ask them to review their statements faster. We might ask them to prepare a cash flow. We might impose more of ourselves in them to make sure that they travel through that difficult time. And we would tell them to prioritize sales, to focus on services that they can be turned into cash quickly. We all have activities that we do that pay more than other activities. The wisdom is in finding out what they are, not necessarily in stopping them. It's just finding out what they are and how to make sure that if you're a morning person like me, at 7:00 in the morning, you don't do the stupid things that you will be doing at 4:00 in the afternoon. I also tell people to make use of what the industry, allows them to pay. And I also tell my retail clients to reduce stock levels to a more manageable way and not to listen to people who sell to them, who want to dump inventory on them. Because in these times, you don't want to get caught with a lot of inventory. Now, in Canada, we can compare ourselves to, world by going to Industry, Trade, and Commerce and finding out what our business type does. So if you have a clothing store, you can go to Industry Canada and you can say, okay, I have a clothing store in 4 provinces, and they sell $500,000 to $1 million a year in sales. They can give you what an average of that does, and you can see whether you are in the average or you're out of the average. Incidentally, this is what Revenue Canada uses to match you and what you're telling them. So if you say that you sell real estate in Ottawa, they peg you against all of the people who sell real estate that are your same size, and they look at the averages. So if the average spends, I don't know, like let's say $2,000 a month in gasoline or $5,000 a year in meals, and you spend $1,000 a year in meals, a letter comes out and says to you, we need to get more information on your $15,000 in meals. But that's a tool that CRA uses. So I always tell my clients, use it before CRA uses it. Make sure you're in the ball game of those people. And if you're not, we better have working papers that support that. And which means implementing strategies and monitoring the effectiveness of what we do. Review costs under control and look for supplier discounts. Now, none of my clients do this. And the reason is because they don't like to tell their suppliers that they want terms, because they're afraid that in their industry, you don't ask for terms. I have clients that are suppliers as well. Their suppliers would rather sell to a business that is doing well than a business who is overbuying or underselling. And compare your cost structures to other business as well, which means that look what the competition is doing in your same field and ask yourself, are we better or are we worse? And it could be that you don't have the right employees. It could be that you don't have the right service. It could be that you are in the wrong location. It could be many things. But look at the dictum of a sage that said it's better to sell a glass of water in the Sahara than it is to sell it on Fifth Avenue in New York. And if you can do that, and if you can realize whether you're in New York or in the Sahara, you are a wise person. And if you're a wise person, you will rely heavily on, on controlling risks. Now, this is what we do in the audit side of the practice. We would see how you are managing risks and what are the risks of your business. But in management, we have general risks or they can give you a picture of something that is decreasing. For instance, if you have a lot of sales among a small number of customers, and that is different than what you used to have. If you rely on one supplier, be careful. Relying heavily on one source of finance, be careful. Do not go to the bank for lines of credit, inventory management, and payroll management, because the banks will treat all of it as one loan. And when the business needs more money, they will say, sorry, you've already taken all of the things that we can offer. So break your financing up. Don't sell on credit without having appropriate checks. Now, that is something that it doesn't happen very much now if you're in retail, because everybody is paying with credit cards. But if you're in services like we are, and we have a big client coming, and we give an engagement letter, we make sure that if we have never seen that person again, or it's the first time that we see that person or that company, that we get some sort of payment upfront. Not the whole thing, but we get some sort of payment upfront. And this is my pet peeve. We do a lot of business plans in this office. They never get implemented. They never get viewed. The company takes the business plan, takes it to the investors, takes it to the bank, gets the money. I go at year end, and they don't know where the business plan is. It's not followed. It's not done. They just let the world happen to them. So if you do a business plan, follow it. Compare actual to forecast. Update the plan and make sure that your circumstances are not changing. And make sure that all of your ducks are always in front of you. Like I would think that one of the things that happens in my world is that I make sure that my staff is enhancing my practice, not detracting from my practice. I make sure that they're well paid. I make sure that they're happy. I make sure that they have holidays. I make sure they take lunch hours. I make sure they don't work through lunch, because it's not something that you can sustain for a long time. So you get people, if you don't want people to take advantage of you, give them the advantages so that they never have to take advantage of the firm. Give them a lunch hour so that they never have to take 3 hours for lunch. Give them sick days so that they never have to lie to you on the phone and tell you that they're sick because their kid is sick. So we have all of that, and now with the advancements of electronics, we can have someone work at home for a day, accessing our office here. So I tend to be very, very subtle on how I give those benefits, but we give benefits to everybody, and we tell them that we always work on behalf of the firm and never on behalf of the client. And sometimes it's difficult to explain that to the world. 15 years ago, I had someone working for me that had mental imbalances. And we had a restaurant on one of our major streets in Ottawa who was not paying their bills to either us or the trade. And he called the office and he wanted to have his financial statements done. So that person gave it to a junior accountant, and they did the financial statement. We did the bill. And the next thing we heard was the trustee called saying, this person has gone bankrupt. Now, the trustee wanted to get his GST returns. And I said, no, I'm not giving you the GST returns because we were caught with this person. So I made the trustee pay me for the GST returns. So at least I got something out of that relationship. But, your staff is supposed to protect your business, not to undermine. And that's one thing that I learned then. And I changed how we hire people and who we hire.
We thank you for watching. We meet every Tuesday between 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern. There is no cost and an option to become a speaker too. Find East Tradewinds on LinkedIn.